Hi everyone, good evening to everyone. Welcome to Urban Gardening Workshop. I'm Hans here. How are you guys? Still doing fine? Welcome to share your feeling in the comment down here. All right, let me see who is online right now. Albert Leong. Thanks. You are the first one showing up for us. Hello, Jasmine. Hello, BL Chan from Kuching. Hello, Wong Christina. Hello. Hello, Stella. Hello, Irene Wong from Singapore. Hello. All right, some of our good friends attending our workshop last month, but you may see that this time is a little bit different. Today, we try to work with hand, work on spot in front of the screen to ensure you guys can understand better. So you can see here later we will have some hands-on over here, so you can see our action by action. You know what we can follow afterwards. So, and I do really appreciate you guys spend some quality night times with us for this workshop. To me, it's a really wonderful and meaningful night to meet with you guys, especially after this Good Friday holiday. All right. Can Connie Pablo Tariagan, I believe you are from Philippines, right? Hello, Robert. Hello, Ling Oi. Hello, Li Pei. Hello, Yu Tan. Hello, Caris. Hopefully, I pronounce your name right. Caris Ng. But Caris Ng, you show me an angry face, huh? Really, yeah? Hello, June. All right. Hello, good evening, everyone. Thanks for spending quality night time with us. Okay. So welcome to write down your questions and any problems in the comment down here. We will try to answer your questions within the time tonight. Guys, it's really good to get busier in your lives, but don't forget to have more fun in gardening. That's the purpose of the series today, Urban Gardening Workshop. We would like to share some easy and relaxed tips to do gardening, okay? Or clarify some myths in gardening. Again, feel free to write down your comment, your feeling, your problems, your questions in the comment today. Okay, whatever you want to share today. I think it's precious to let other people know, understand about your problem so that they can avoid in the future. And we found out many times, and so many times we can learn more by interaction and by reading the sharing in the comments, and let us know how you do the gardening, and so that we can have more and deeper discussion from there. We really appreciate if you really willing to put your sharing in the comments down here. So before we start our main topics today, let me introduce a little bit about Baba. Okay, so as you can see here, we wish that we can create the most friendly gardening for our friends. So we supply one-stop gardening products like including the biodegradable plastic flower pots, and then the organic potting mix, organic fertilizer, organic pesticides, and others to the market, including the nurseries and chain store hypermarkets like Aeon, like Lotus, or whatever you can find in the hypermarkets. And we also do a lot of CSR and public education, no matter to consumers or farmers, on how and why we should support organics so that we can preserve a better environment for current and future generations. So today, we would like to talk about grow your own herbs garden. So what kind of herbs you grow before? Please write down in the comments down here so that let us can see what you grow before. And I believe this question we asked before the workshop start. Okay, so let me see. Okay, today we bring some common herbs over here, like including, for example, you can see over here. Wait for a moment. Okay, we have several herbs here. You see. All right, so you can see we have sweet basil, we have mint, okay, we have oregano, you can see here, and we have sage, okay, we have rosemary, okay, and then we have lemon balm, okay, we also have Thai basil, and we also have the thyme, okay? So these are really the common herbs that we can find locally in Malaysia and Singapore. Okay, so let me see what herbs you have grown over here. So later we will do some demo with the herbs around here. Okay, all right. So Li Pei rosemary. Okay, Bobo Y rosemary, BL Chan Thai basil. Okay, so Chiang Mary, okay, you never grow anything before, okay? No worries. These never be too late. You can start growing from now, okay? And then Linate Cayetano, hopefully I pronounce the name right, okay? Plant basil, eggplant, tomato, pechay, okay? So are lemongrass, curly leaf plants consider herbs? Okay, lemongrass, yes. Okay, all right. So you can write down your herbs over here and you can write down your problems and why we grow herbs. Okay, what are the benefits? Of course, you can see so many herbs here. Wow, it's so fragrant. Okay, it can be used to cook in the kitchen. Okay, you can share with your friends. Okay, we just need to pluck a few only, but you have plenty source of the herbs. You can share more with your friends and it's easily available. So when you feel, for example, you feel headache, okay, like feel headache, you can just like pluck one, okay, this is the mint, okay, you pluck one mint, okay, you pinch it, okay, you squeeze it and then you place on your forehead, okay, and then the mint juice will actually help to relieve your headache, okay, and then it also help to improve your mental health. By growing this, it can help you to relieve your stress, and then it also improve your health physically. And this growing herbs is never be complicated. So this is a really good kids parents interactive activity. This also can help to foster responsibility, accountability, and so on. Okay, so what experience? Okay, what kind of experience you are growing herbs? Okay, all right. Okay, so let us see so many benefits and so many good things by growing herbs over here, and it's not that complicated. So fun, okay? So if you have somebody in mind or friends who are so busy and stressful, please welcome to share this topic with your friend. Click share, okay? And share with somebody, letting more people to love gardening. And this is not complicated at all. I mean, the gardening is not complicated at all. This is the easiest and the cheapest entertainment at home or even at your working space. Okay? All right. So today in this topic, grow your own herbs garden, we would like to share several parts of sharing. Like for example, we will talk about the sunlight exposure, the watering, okay, the trimming, the pot changing, and also the propagation. Okay, I know a lot of people want to know how to propagate or how to grow more herbs by your own single herbs. Okay, so we will talk about that. And we will take 3 herbs as a subject of demo over here because due to the time constraint, like we will choose the sweet basil, we will also take the mint, and we will also do with the rosemary. Okay, I know a lot of people having the rosemary problem. We will share about the other herbs next time, and then we will touch about the fertilizer and the pest control next time as well, because the pest control and the fertilizer is a really broad topics, okay? All right, so hopefully after the topics today, go to get some herbs for yourself, okay? And I wish that our friends can go to support eco-friendly potted plants, okay? So you can see the pot is blue in color, okay? So actually, we go to the second camp. All right, so second camp, please open. All right, so as you can see here, okay, so this is the second, camp which are showing this, the eco-care, eco-friendly potted plants. This is certified totally pesticide-free herbs that you can get from the nursery in Malaysia, in Singapore, and nationwide, okay? So these, and then there are only 3 Cameron growers in Malaysia who are willing to put their efforts, their time, their money to do so, okay? So with your support, I believe this will propagate to influence more people to become eco-friendly. More growers are willing to grow in eco way, and the environment will become better, okay? So the characteristic of these eco-friendly potted plants are no pesticide logo with blue pot. Okay, so if you found these, okay, go to grab and to support them. Okay, so let me leave for a while. Okay, because I need to drink some water. Okay, all right. So the first time we will talk about the sunlight exposure. So now we come to talk about sunlight exposure, and some friends do really ask me before. They always seen the herbs, okay, online or probably somewhere else, growing in temperate country or somewhere cold, okay? So can the herbs really suitable to grow in hot tropical countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, and so on? Okay, well, in fact, most of the herbs can be grown in in most of the countries worldwide, and eventually people in temperate country like Europe, like Japan, or wherever the cold country you go before, will prefer to choose to grow these herbs, okay, during spring and summer too, because most herbs cannot overwinter, okay. But it's true that herbs can grow better in temperate country. Why? Because in overseas, the sunlight exposure is more. We always felt that feel that the blue sky overseas really blue and the clouds are whiter and more far-flung. And which is true because the air overseas is drier, less water vapor, okay, in the air, and then so the soil, okay, the soil on the potting mix will tend to dry quicker, even we accidentally overwatering. But in tropical country like in Malaysia, like in Singapore, the sunlight intensity is lesser. The air is damper, is wetter. So the water, every time we water, the water is harder to dry. So that's why to grow in tropical climates, we need to give more care and attention to grow the herbs. So now we come back to the topics of discussion. Do we need sunlight to grow herbs? To be honest, most of the herbs require sunlight exposure 6 to 8 hours of sunlight to let the photosynthesis going on, to let it more bushy, okay, to let the soil not that over moist, okay. So the herbs require 6 to 8 hours of sunlight exposure. But however, the good news is the herbs probably are few types of home plants that can be grown indoor. Like for example, like in condo, in apartments. So if you choose to grow indoor, you place somewhere more ventilated and with more sunlight exposure. Okay, let me repeat. It's okay if you want to grow the herbs indoor, but you need to place somewhere more ventilated and more sunlight. Okay, so the herbs growing indoor seems to exhibit slower growth, okay, and a little bit leggy. So just now I see there is a friend. Let me see again. Just now I see a friend saying that the herbs is leggy. Okay, I'm trying to find back. Okay, all right. I know there is a friend like finding that okay the herbs like growing leggy, probably because growing indoor, but overall should be fine. Okay, once a while if you are if possible, you let them to expose to sunlight. That will be good enough. Okay. So, do you have any questions? Okay, please write down over here in the comments over here. Okay. So, like for example, just now I take out the rosemary, the mint, and also the sweet basil. 3 of them require sunlight, but okay to grow indoor as well. Okay. All right. So let me see. Do you have any problem on the sunlight exposure? All right. So, okay, now we just move on first. Okay, if you still have any questions, we will compile all the questions and answer all at once during the Q&A session, okay? All right, now we come to part 2, the watering part, okay? Part 2, watering. So, the crucial part for watering the herbs is how not to overwater your herb, okay? The crucial part is how to not overwater your herbs, okay? So most of the time, we just overwater the herbs unintentionally or uncontrollably, okay? Why? Because in Southeast Asia country like you, like mine, like Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, just half of the years are raining. The soil just get too moist for most of the time, okay? So the components to not overwater your plants are the soil and also the watering method, okay? So the best moisture state for the media is around 50 to 65% moist, okay? How do we know that the media is just moist correctly? The best moisture state of the media is about 50 to 65% moist. Okay, well, let me show you some example. Okay, like just after you water your plants, okay, or your plants get rain, okay, then if you go to observe your soil after 1 to 2 days, if your soil is something like this, okay, so camera 2 please open. Okay, so after 1 to 2 days after you water the plants or your soil get rain, okay, if you grab your soil and it just scattered that way, it means that the soil is too dry, okay? Probably the media you choose is like the soil, like the sand, okay? The sand tends to dry the water, tend to dry faster, okay? So for example, if this one, when you grab the soil and somehow when you squeeze it, and then there are still water, okay? But you leave it and then it can become clumpy, okay? So means that this is too moist, okay? Your soil keep too much water for itself, okay? So when you squeeze it, just like the uh, like you know the wet towel, when you squeeze it, a lot of water going out. And then if when you squeeze it, you leave it out, and then it can become clumpy. But you squeeze hard enough, and then there is no single water coming out. So it means that your soil just moist correctly. Okay. In Malay, we call it betul-betul basah. Okay. In Filipino, we call it tamalang. Hopefully, I pronounced correctly. In Thai, tokngang. Okay, 50 to 65% moist. Okay, just remember. Okay, all right. So we may see some herbs growing in yellowish soil. Okay, like for example, like this. Okay, yellowish soil, yellow soil. Okay, something very clayish. Okay, like this. It's so clumpy over here. Okay, so if you found your herbs growing in this kind of soil, I would like to recommend that you may change to a more fibrous for potting media like peat-based media or peat moss. Okay, later we will show it when during the pot changing session. Okay, so if your media is quite fibrous already, okay, for example like this one, let me show you very quickly. As you can see here, you see the soil is quite fibrous. Okay, so if your media is fibrous already, you may choose to leave it be. Okay, if you choose to maintain your herbs growing in that size, only don't want it to grow bigger, you may leave it be. Okay, and after all, we will talk about the soil part and also the pot changing part later on. Okay, now before we water the plants, we just need to water the plants when the top inch soil almost get dry. Okay, so let me repeat, just water when the top 1 to 2 inch soil get dry. Okay, and how do we know that this, okay, top 1 to 2 inch soil is dry? Okay, let me show you some example. Okay, for example, this one. Okay, let me adjust the second cam over here. Okay, so what we can do is we can do with the finger test. Okay, as you can see here. So this index finger, the first part is about 1 inch. Okay, and then if you got the two parts over here, means the two parts here means that 2 inch. Okay, so we can either use our finger and then to poke into the soil. Okay, or we can use the stick. Okay, to poke into the soil. Okay. Okay, poke into 1 to 2 inch. So if you see that, okay, now not that so clearly, but when you feel the moist or there are some potting media particles sticking on top, it means that, oh, it's very moist. But when you poke inside, there is nothing on top, okay, or very little things on top, and you don't feel any moisture, it means that it's a time, okay, to do the watering. Okay. Okay, let me show with the rosemary again. Okay, so similarly, what I do is I just poke into 1 to 2 inch, okay, deep, and then to observe whether there are soil particles on top. Okay, then this rosemary is still moist. Okay, so we need not to water the plants this time. Similarly to the mint over here, as you can see, okay, and then we poke inside, we take out, okay, you see there are some soil particles sticking on top. Okay, then we need not to water the plants this time. So you'll find that growing the herbs in Malaysia, then you just need to water like once every 1 week or sometimes eventually 2 weeks, okay, depending on the weather, okay? And sometimes a lot of friends sharing with us, like we may use the moisture probe, okay, to detect the moisture. And it's really good, okay? You know, the moisture probe is something like, you know, there's electronic things, okay, when we poke inside and then there will be a meter showing that it's wet or it's dry, okay? This moisture probe is good, okay? But sometimes the reading is off, okay? Because the sensor and also the electrical circuit, okay, tend to broken down very easily. So, you know, the common mistake when we use the moisture probe is that after we poke into the soil, okay, because we want to wash, because we want to clean it away, then we just wash it with the running water, okay, which is not good because this probe is running on the electrical basis, okay. So when you wash it with running water, probably it will tend to short circuit very fast, okay, short circuit. Okay, so that's why when you get your moisture probe with a reading on top, then we just need to clean it with a piece of clean or slightly wet cloth. That will be great enough, okay? All right. So the second thing is that do I need to test every single pot over here? So you see, today I bring so many pots of the herbs over here. Do I need to test every single pot? No need. If your herbs have almost the same media, like for example, all the herbs here, they are using almost the same fibrous media, then you may test one pot only to represent other moisture state of the plant, okay? So just share our experience. Probably it takes almost like 1 to 2 weeks, okay, to observe that, oh, the soil get a little bit dry, okay, depending on the weather. All right, so let's say if we already tested the soil is dry, so how can we water the herbs correctly, okay? So to me, I would recommend to water directly on the soil without touching the leaf, okay? So just water directly to the soil without contacting the leaves, okay? Let me grab some tools, okay? Very quickly. All right. So we will have a special watering can over here. So what we need, so you can see, it's better for us to water using this kind of slanted straight tube, okay, to water directly onto the herbs over here, okay. So if it's really dry, okay, you just need to water it, okay, you can see over here, okay. So water until it starts to drain, okay, out from the pot bottom over here. And after that, you just need to wait, you just need to test, okay, until it dry next time, okay? So when the soil, the top inch soil get dry, you just need to water until it start to drain out from the bottom of the pot, okay? Or the second way we can water the plant is by using the soaking method, okay? So for example, okay, we can get a saucer, okay, then we just put the water on top. Okay, hopefully I can show better. Okay, you just fill this up with water, the saucer with water. Just wait for a moment. Let me fill it up with water. All right, so, and then we may place the plant, okay, on top. That's it, okay? So we just put the water on the saucer and let the roots of the plant doing the job. It will absorb the water from the bottom, okay? And then we just let it be, soak it for around like 30 minutes to 1 hour, okay? So we just soak the plants so that the water is absorbed from the bottom through the roots, okay? When we do this, the roots will absorb the water from the bottom over here, and it will absorb the plants to the leaf, okay, and then from the leaf it will release the water vapor. That's what we call the transpiration, okay. So when this process is going on, as we know that these leaves, the herb leaves, okay, are thinner, okay, are softer as compared to the indoor plants. Okay, they are more sensitive. They easily get rotten on leaves. Okay, so when they release the water vapor, if we stir water on top of the leaves over here, oh, that's not good. Okay, you will block all the water vapor release process. Okay, and this is not good. Okay. But sometimes, if you grow the herbs on ground, you cannot avoid, okay, to water on leaves, okay. You have water to contact with the leaves, okay. So if that's the case, if you grow the herbs on ground, I suggest that you may find this, okay. This is what we call the spray hay, okay. Then you need to switch to, let me see. Okay, hopefully you can see better. You need to switch to the shower mode, okay, or you switch to mist. Here, you can see the mist over here. All right. Sorry. Okay, mist. Hopefully you can see. Okay, let me adjust again. Okay, mist over here. All right. So that when you use this mode to water the plants, the water on leaves will dry faster. Okay. All right, so so do you have any problems on the watering parts? Okay, so you may write down in the comments over here. Okay, to me, okay. All right, so there are some, okay, so I see, Philip Lydia Fu say, by poking with chopstick, okay, will the roots be damaged? So actually not, okay. So you are not damaging that roots at all, okay. So many gardens in Singapore have cell tool for the sticker and blue pot. Yeah, that's great. Okay, and then okay, Ariel Kwan, okay, say asking that my rosemary is placed at the window. She get 3 hours of morning sun every day. Why is still so leggy? Actually, to answer this, the rosemary plant requires 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. Okay, so if the sunlight is not that lot, it will start to stretch, okay, its body and then to find the sunlight, okay. So that's why it's still leggy. But no worries, the leggy herbs doesn't mean that it's a problem herbs. It's just not that beautiful only, okay. But you still can grow that way, all right. So Nick Uy asking that rosemary watering too much and dies, and too much sunlight also dies. Okay, it's a lady plant. Yes, that's true. Okay, so the good way is that you can place it somewhere bright, okay, but not direct exposure to sunlight. Okay, so this is really a little bit tricky. Okay, but if you find the way, then you can grow better. Okay. All right. So we go to the next topic first. Okay, then I will answer all the other problems during the Q&A section. Okay. So now we come to part 3. Okay, trimming. Okay, we come to a part of trimming. So probably we heard about the purpose of trimming. It's like, for example, if you want to treat the indoor plants, is to make the indoor plants more bushy, beautiful, and growing into the shapes we like. But however, for the herbs, the ultimate objective for trimming is to promote ventilation. Okay, let me repeat. One of the purposes for trimming is to promote ventilation. Okay, because the herbs, okay, you can see there are so many leaves over here. Okay, so the herbs are easily getting rotten if the leaves are too bushy. All the vapor release will be trapped inside the leaves itself. And that's the trigger point to make the plant getting sick, okay? So, you know, there are ways, okay, got a lot of fungus, bacteria, virus flying around us, okay? And the fungus and the bacteria will eventually stop on the leaves, okay? So if it's too damp, the spores of the fungus will start to germinate and start to penetrate the plants, okay? So that's why just now a friend saying that why the rosemary is the lady plant. Yes, okay, the rosemary will become something like this, I believe. okay, will become rot and gray in color like this, okay? So when you place the herbs indoor, ensure you place somewhere ventilated, okay? Like the fan, let it open a little bit, and then to ensure the ventilation is better, okay? So all the air, okay, all the vapor, okay, we just, all the air can move, okay, between the leaves, okay? So let us take example like the sweet basil, the mint, the rosemary, and then to do the demo part for the trimming, okay? Just wait for a moment. All right. So the first thing is what we need to do is we need to trim away the old parts, the yellow parts, and then removing any drop leaves regularly, okay? So we go to the cam tool, okay? So you can see here. So you see, can you see over here? You see there are some, like the black part of the mint over here, okay? And why this happened? Because these mint have been exposed to the rain recently, and then it start to get very damp, and then it start to become sick, okay? So for this one, okay, we need to remove any old part of the leaf, the yellow part of the leaf, okay? And then to reduce unnecessary nutrient competition, okay? And also, if we did not remove it, you see the black part over here, and then it will become the source of fungus, okay? So what we need to do is we need to remove the old part, the fungus, the black part, okay? We just remove that away, okay? All right, okay, remove that away, and then it's better, okay? So for the rosemary, we observe, is there any old parts, the yellow parts? Okay, so this one, it seems good. Okay, and then what about the sweet basil? Okay, we see here. So sometimes you will see there are some like the drop leaves over here, you can see here. Okay, so if possible, if we have time, we need to remove all the drop leaves over here because these will become the source of fungus, okay? And then it will make your plants become rotten, okay? So we just remove that. Yep, okay, then that's better, okay? All right, and next thing, okay, we always trim not more than 1/3 of the plant, okay? I repeat again, trim not more than 1/3 of the plants, okay? So that you can make sure that the air can pass through the plants very easily, okay? So what we can do, we can choose to trim the leaves. For example, there are 50 leaves over here. So we trim like 15 leaves from here, or we can trim the branches. You can see, like, let's say the branch is about like 10 cm tall. Okay, we just trim not more than 3 cm. Okay, or we have 10 branches over here. We trim not more than 3 branches. So whatever you think that is more efficient to make the plants more spacious, to make the air passing through, okay? So the part you trim will actually grow into branches sideways as well. So for example, okay, if we want to trim the plant for this one, okay, let's say, if I choose to trim, okay, let me show the second cam. Okay, here, okay, you see that. Okay, let's say this is a long one, okay? So I estimate that it's about like 10 cm. So I just need to trim it, okay, like about like 3 cm on top. And this one will actually, I can just harvest it as well, similarly, okay? Or I see that they are about like 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, about 10 branches over here. So what I do is I just trim 3 branches, okay? Okay, and then to make it more spacious. Just now I trim 1 already, so I just trim another 2. Okay, and that's good enough, okay? So similarly for the rosemary plants, okay, so I can choose, okay, to trim the, let me adjust. Okay, I can choose to trim from the leaves. So let's say from here, I have like 30 leaves, then I need to pluck off the 10 leaves. It's up to you, but this is very time consuming. So what I do is I just like trim, like let's say I found there are about like 10 branches over here. So I just trim 1 part, okay, 1 to 3 parts. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, The purpose is to promote the ventilation, okay? So you just need to make sure that the plant is more spacious, okay? And then to let the air can pass through, okay? And similarly for the herbs, for this one, the mint, okay, what I trim is I trim 1/3, okay? Like choose to trim with the number of branches over here, okay? So I trim, like, I think they are about 15. So I can trim up to 5, okay? So the purpose is to make it more spacious, okay? All right. So that's it. And then after you apply with the fertilizer, it will grow bushy. Okay? And also, when you see any flowers on top of the herbs, okay? So just pluck it as soon as possible, okay? Pluck the flowers as soon as possible because the flowers will probably take out like two-thirds of the nutrients from the plants and it will reduce the flavors of the leaves, okay? So, and one more thing, if your herbs start to get flower, then this plant probably not able to propagate better, okay? So if you want to make the leaf have more flavorful, and then you want to propagate your herbs, then better pluck the flower as soon as possible, okay? And also harvest the herbs regularly, okay? Harvest the herbs regularly even you don't really need it, okay? Then, for example, let's say the sweet basil, okay? So chem 2, yes. Okay, so after we harvest, let's say we harvest by plucking the leaf, just pluck it, okay? Pluck it like that. Okay, so for this one, you actually can put it in airtight, resealable bags, okay? Freezing, okay? For sweet basil, you can freeze it because this can help to avoid losing the good portion of the flavor, okay? You may dry or you may choose to dry it 3 to 4 days and then it will work also, but it will lose some part of the flavor, okay? All right, and also the mint, okay? So for the mint, you just need to put it in container after you harvest and then you fridge it normally, okay? And then for the rosemary, okay, just after you harvest, you just air dry it normally and you keep it, okay? So actually harvest the herbs regularly will make your plants more rounded, okay? And also less leggy as well, okay? Because it will promote the new growth, new buds, and also the new branching, okay? All right, do you have any questions on the trimming part? Okay, so please write down in the comments or under the comments over here. Okay, let me keep the things. At the same time, you feel free to write down the questions. All right, let me see. Okay, let me answer some of the questions. Jenny P, can the herbs be under rainwater for a few days after during the rainy season or should avoid the herbs from exposing to rain for a few days? So Jenny, so the thing is that we cannot stop the rain, okay? So sometimes we don't have time to just like move in and move out like that. So that's why I say it's better for you to change to a peat base, okay, to a more well drainage soil. Okay, later we will talk about that, and then so that when it rains, it can drain the excess water pretty quickly. Okay, all right. So let me see. Okay, CA Ang, how to grow from seed. Okay, actually, seed is not that easy because seed, the germination rate is not that high. Okay, it takes a lot of tending. It takes a longer time, probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and some herb seed need to take a month. Okay, so so within this, there are some fluctuation on the water quality, on the surrounding quality that will affect the germination rate as well. So later I will show you how to propagate from cuttings, okay? All right, so let me see. Okay, Richard Huang, okay. So you say you should not trim more than 1/3. I see you trim all the way to the root. Okay, Richard. So so it depends on you. You can choose to trim by plucking off the leaves, 1/3 the amount of the leaves. Or you can choose to trim one, like let's say this is a section. Okay, let's say 10 cm, I trim 3 cm of the branch. Or I see overall there are 10 branches over here. I can just cut from the bottom 3 branches and then to make it more spacious. It depends on you, whatever you think that is more effective, you have time, and then to do it that way. Okay? All right. So, okay, we will read the more questions during the Q&A section, but let us move to the next most exciting part. Okay? Part 4, propagation. Okay? Let me get some tools. Okay? All right. So, let me get some water. Okay. And also get some this over here. Okay. So, let me leave it aside. So along with the trimming, if we have extra time, when you do the trimming, if we do have extra time and our plants are healthy enough, we may choose to propagate the plants with cuttings, okay? So different herbs may have different ways of propagation. And today we will still use the mint, the rosemary, and also the sweet basil as the subject of the propagation, the demo today. Okay, so the first thing, what we need to do is we need to prepare the peat-based media first. Okay, so these media can be used to be used as the media for propagation or the media for the pot changing as well. Okay, so what we need to do, okay, we need to take a peat moss. Okay, and then we also need to take perlite. Okay, so cam 2. Okay, can you please open the screen? All right. So we have peat moss over here, you can see, and we also have perlite over here. Okay. So what we need to do, we need to mix. Okay, 3 portions of the peat and 1 portion of the perlite. Okay. So let me mix. Okay, and how do we mix? Okay, you can use the soy scoop to mix. Okay, so I can take 3 scoops of the peat and 1 scoop of perlite. And to me, I would prefer using hand. Okay, so I take like 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then also 1 portion, 1 handful of the perlite, but don't squeeze it because it's very brittle. Okay, and I can do the same again. Okay, 1, 2, and 3, and then I take another handful of the perlite. Okay, so that's the portion. Okay. So after we put it, okay, then we mix it, okay, okay. Then that's the mixed media for the propagation. And also if you want to change your potting media to this kind of media, this is very good as well, okay. All right, so I need to get that pot. Okay, I need to fill into this here. Okay, so that later we can use that for pot changing and also for the media for propagation. Okay, I just put it here. All right. Okay, so we have some mixed potting media over here. Okay, and then for example the sweet basil. Okay, if we want to propagate the sweet basil, what we need to do, okay, we need to cut. Okay, we need to make sure that this sweet basil is healthy at first. Okay, so we choose to cut 4 to 6 inch section. Okay, you find the parts that are about like at least 10 cm length. Okay, 10 cm is about this. Okay, about this height. Okay, this length about. So I find those. Okay, the parts that about this height. Okay, for example, I choose to have this. You see, this is quite tall. Okay, quite tall over here. Yes, about 10 cm. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to cut it. Okay, so make sure you use your scissors to cut it. Don't use your hand to pluck it because we need to make sure that it's clean cut. Okay, so I just cut it. Okay, about like 10 cm. Okay, so we place the cutting into the water. Okay, place the cutting into the water. Okay, that's it. And then we place somewhere ventilated, okay, and bright, but not direct exposed to sunlight. So we place it in water, and then we need to change the water for every 2 to 3 days. Like for example, once every week we need to change at least 2 times of water. Just take note, okay? So we do it frequently, and once the healthy root appear on the bottom part over here, so we can transplant it into the peat-based media. Just now we mix, right? We can transplant it into the peat-based media. Okay, so this is the sweet basil part. Okay, the next part is the mint. Okay, so for the mint over here, similarly, we choose the parts that are about like 10 cm, at least 10 cm. Okay, 10 to 15 cm of mint. Okay, but make sure that just now I mentioned the herbs, it should have no flower before. If it's flower already, then most of the nutrients have been absorbed by the flowers, and probably it won't grow the roots. Okay, so similarly, we use the snipper. Okay, flower snip. Okay, we find the really healthy part. Okay, we find they are about like 10 cm high. Okay, for example, this one. Okay, for example, this part. Okay, you see. Okay, let me show. Okay, okay, it's more. Okay, it's about like 10 cm. Okay, so I can cut this part. Okay, and then after we cut these, okay, from here, okay, we need to remove the bottom half part of the leaves. Okay, we just remove it. Okay, something like this. Okay, then we place it in water. Okay, place it in water. And similarly, you place it somewhere ventilated with bright but indirect sunlight. Okay, just remember, ventilated, bright but indirect sunlight. So similarly, we need to change the water every few days or 2 to 3 times a week to keep it fresh. Okay, so same. Once the roots grow, okay, like few inches long, okay, we can transplant it into the peat-based media we mixed just now. Okay. And then this rooting process probably take weeks and then to complete. Okay, so we need to have patience for this to do the propagation like this. All right. And then for the rosemary plant, it's a little bit different. Okay. Similarly, we try to find there about. Let me adjust the screen here. Okay. Similarly, we choose like 4 inches, about 10 cm of the rosemary part. Okay. Okay, so I've tried to find which part about 10 cm. Okay, you see? Yeah, that this part that you see is about 10 cm. Okay, so I can just cut it. Okay, with snipper to make sure it's clean cut. Okay. Okay. And then from here, let me adjust. Okay, from here, this is the cut part. Okay, I just remove the bottom half part of the stems. Okay, the leaf. So I just remove it, and then this will become your food ingredient. Okay, so I just put in here. Okay, remove half part of the leaf. All right. Okay, so we remove half part of already. Okay, I can remove more. Okay, you can see that I removed half part of the leaf already. And then for this one, we need not to place it in water, okay? We can just directly plant it into the pot with peat-based media we mixed just now, okay? So, just now we mixed this peat-based media, right? Okay, so we just put it inside here. Okay, and then we just place it, okay? That's it, okay? So we water it regularly, and then you need to place it somewhere ventilated with bright but indirect sunlight, okay? So this rooting process actually will take about 2 months, okay? Remember, it's 2 months, okay? It's not that easy. So the cuttings should have roots, and then you may transfer into a bigger pot, okay? For that case. So do you have any questions on this, the propagation part? Okay, so you may write down in the comments over here, and let me keep the tools. Okay. So let me see the questions. All right. So there's a okay. So there is a question. Jyoti asking about like is the peat moss the same as cocoa peat? Okay. So actually, it's not the same as peat moss. Okay, but cocoa peat is also considered as a peat-based material. Okay, is considered the cheaper option. But the thing is that the cocoa peat probably tends to have a risk of higher salt content and also higher acidity, so that it's not clean enough and then to do something like propagation like this. But probably it's better to be used on more mature plants. Okay, this is what I recommend. Okay, and then okay, somebody asked, Joyce Tan asked, how do you propagate thyme? Okay, please wait for the next time. We will talk about more propagation, the hands-on for other herbs next time. Okay, all right. So Matteo, okay, for thyme, leaf turning yellow with an indirect sunlight. Why after planting and propagation? Well, probably the thing is that the cutting part is infected by by fungus, by bacteria, and then that's why it starts to become yellow. And that's probably not the successful cutting we can use. So if we see that thing happen, we need to remove the cutting and we replace with the new cutting again. Okay, it's not successful for most of the time, but probably 60% and above. Okay, you have 40% of failure. Okay, all right. So how to plant those with the seeds? Okay, so if we have time, if we will share that how to grow from the seed, but that one is harder. We will share that during the next time. Okay, Josoto Bengan. Okay. All right, so the last part we talk about is the pot changing, okay? So now, if we want to make it growing into a bigger size, okay? Or just now we do the cutting already, we propagate the cutting, okay? We want to transfer into a bigger pot. So always choose one size bigger pot only. For example, this pot size is about 40 cm diameter, okay? So one size bigger is usually 3 to 8 cm bigger only, okay? So if this is 14 cm, then it can range from 17 cm to 14 plus 8, 22 cm only, okay? So let me show some example, okay? So this one, okay, is about 117 cm, 21 cm, and this one is 31 cm big, okay? So we don't just transplant from this size to this size, okay? Don't direct transplant from S size to XL size, okay? Because as you can see here, the soil content is much more than this size. So this pot, the XL size pot, probably will keep 3 or to 9 times more water than this pot, which these plants is not mature enough to absorb that much of water. So that's why we always choose one size bigger only. So if you want to strictly use these kind of big pots, you need to control strictly on the watering part, which is watering technique is totally very difficult. Okay, so what we need to do is better for us to choose one size bigger, something like this. Okay, so if you found that this pot, the potting media they use is yellow soil or something clayish, okay, you need to change it and then to more peat base. Okay, just like I say. So if it's okay, is fibrous, okay, then we may transplant directly into the pot. Okay, so what we need to do, okay, just okay, cam 2 please open. Okay, so just now we have the mixed peat base media. Okay, then we just move it. Okay, we put some mixed peat-based medium, okay, and then we leave about the height of the space for the height of the previous medium, okay. So we just squeeze it, okay. and then we can just take it out, something like this. Okay, and then we just put it inside. Okay, then we fill it out with the rest part of the soil, the potting mix. Okay. All right. Okay. So here's here how we transplant to the bigger pots. The thing is that, okay, because the perlite is always lighter. Okay, so that's why if we want to do it, we can just water the peat-based media first before we transplant. Then that will be fine as well. Or we can place some pebbles. Okay, or we can place some the leca, the clay balls on top, and then to make it more beautiful. At the same time, it dry it on top. Okay. At the same time, it reduce the perlite from falling out away. Okay. So this is what we can do over here. All right. So do you have any do you have any questions on the pot changing part? Okay. So just wait for a moment. All right, so now we move to the Q&A section, my favorite part, because it's always become the topic and the subjects for more discussion. Okay, we can have more interaction over there. So please write down your questions in the comment down here. Okay, and then we can have a discussion and also have the deeper analysis on that. Okay, so let me conclude a little bit on the sharing today. So for the herbs, it's better to expose to sunlight. Okay, but okay to grow indoor. Okay, and then just water the plants when the top in soil is dry. Okay, and always not trim more than 1/3 of the herbs. Okay, and you may choose 4 inches branches about this size and then to propagate if your herbs is healthy enough, and change the pot to only one size bigger, not from S to XL. Okay, so that's the conclusion. All right, so now we come to the Q&A section, and let's see what is the question. What question you have? All right. Okay, so Susan Chiu, okay, where to find the Baba Primos in the KL area? So actually, you can PM us in the Baba Gardening International, or you can find most of the nurseries, okay, in KL Center, in KL region. All right, so let's see. Okay, Jamie. Okay, Jamie Tan. My balcony has no roof, so exposed to direct sunlight. Will it burn the leaf? Okay, so it shouldn't burn the leaf. But the thing is that if the herbs actually so delicate that it's really sensitive, okay, and then it's not good. It probably the plants will tend to get burnt very easily. So what we can do is we can take a mist of spraying on top like once every day, okay, to make sure it cool down the surrounding over here. Okay, this is what we can do, and then to cool down the plants. All right. So let's see. Okay. So there's a question. Philia Lydia Fu, okay, can we trim the roots before transplant? Okay, so actually, you need not to trim the root. Oh, sorry. Okay, my computer is disconnected. Okay, so actually, you need not to trim the roots. Okay, so what we do before we transplant, okay, we just directly transplant into the peat-based soil. That will be good enough. All right, so let me see more comments from here. Okay. All right, so Serena Low, okay, what fertilizer to use? Okay, so that one we will talk about that in the future. But as what you can see is, let me show another part. Okay, you can see from here. Okay, so you need to differentiate which herbs are more leafy and which herbs are more woody. So if the herbs tend to be more leafy, okay, then we need it to grow more leaf, then we need to apply the organic fertilizer with higher in nitrogen content. But for the plants which is more branching, more woody, then we can use the organic fertilizer with higher in nitrogen to grow more leaves, at the same time higher in potassium to make the bark, okay, to make the branch harder, okay, and thicker. Okay, this is what I recommend. That one I will share about that during the next time. Okay. All right. Tea. Okay. How do we make normal potting soil to have better drainage? Okay. So what I would recommend is that if your normal potting soil is using yellow soil, clay soil, then you can mix one portion of like 1-to-1 with the sand, and then let it to have better drainage, or you can mix with another 30% of perlite, okay, and then to make it have a better drainage. Okay, this is what I recommend. Okay, all right, Xiao Hui. Okay, is sweet basil attract ants and mosquito easily? Yes and no. To be honest, the attract ants and mosquito actually happen commonly in quite many herbs. Okay, so during for the pest control part, okay, I will talk about that. But what I will recommend is you can actually place a bowl of apple. Is it apple vinegar? Yes, apple vinegar. Okay, apple cider. Apple cider? Yeah, apple cider. Okay, apple cider. Apple vinegar. Sorry, I forgot the name. Apple vinegar. Okay, and then you wrap it with the plastic wrap, and then you poke some holes, and then most of the mosquito or most of the bugs flying on top of the herbs will go into that. Okay, you can try that and see. Okay, so okay, Magdalene Tan. Okay, hopefully I pronounce your name right. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing correctly. Do you water it through after repotting? Yes, you need to water it, not just not over water it, but just happen to be it start to drain out from the bottom of the pot, then that will be enough. Okay. All right. So, okay. Jenny Slim. Okay, if I transfer my plants to a bigger pot, do I need to trim it or wait until it's bushy? Yes, you need to let it until it's bushy first, because in the roots of the plant will need to adapt to the soil surrounding, okay, and also the environment, and then so that the moments when you see the leaves start to grow and then it start to become bushy, that's the point that you can only trim your plant. That's a good question. Okay. All right. So William Lim, propagation need light to grow roots. Yes. Okay. Definitely. It's not that scientific direct relationship that the sunlight will cause the root to grow, but in fact, the roots will actually detect the sunlight and also detect the gravity itself, and then to grow the roots. Okay, that's how amazing, how miraculous on the plants have that kind of spontaneous reaction inside itself. Okay. Linete Cayetano. Okay, can pumice be used instead of perlite? Yes, but pumice probably is not easily available. So if you get pumice, then go ahead to use it. Similarly with the portion I mentioned just now. Okay, depending on the size. Okay. Yep. Okay. When my rosemary stems start to turning brown, what can I do to save it? Okay. So I know a lot of people facing this problem, right? So actually, I plan to answer that during the next section. But right now, I can share one of the tips with you. Is that when you know that your rosemary plants will gonna, we know that the rosemary plants will tend to get rotten very easily. Okay, especially at the base of the stem. So we can do prevention is better than cure. So we can spray some wood vinegar at the base of the stem, okay, and then to let it have a better protection against the disease, okay, against the fungal disease, okay. All right, so okay, let me see the time. Okay, now it's 9:35. Okay, let me answer the last 2 or 3 questions, okay. All right. So, okay, how do we propagate oregano? We will talk about that next time. Okay, and then, okay. All right, Nick Oi. Okay, rosemary plant cannot cut and put in water. According to the grower experience, okay, it's not feasible to just directly put it in water because the rosemary plant, just like I say, is more sensitive to moist and it tends to rot very easily. Okay, so that's why you can just poke it into the potting peat-based media I say just now, and we control the moisture from there on. That will be better. Okay, but if the process takes longer, it's about like 2 times of rooting process. Okay, 2 months of the rooting process. Okay, all right. So Nikoi, okay, I heard that it needs to be cut with 45 angle. Is it correct? Yes, it's correct. But it's not that strictly 45 angle because cutting with 45 degree, okay, it makes a better clean cut on the cutting part itself. Okay, so that's why if you want to cut, you can cut it with 45 degree, or you can cut a little bit slanted to 60 degree also can. Okay, if we cut clean cut with horizontal 90 degree, not 90 degree, 180 degree cut, okay, probably the cut itself is not that uniform, and then it's more prone to disease and also the fungus attack. Okay. All right. Here's the end of our sharing. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and I'm sorry that if I couldn't read out all the questions inside. Okay, we will. Please welcome to PM us. Okay, and thank you very much. We really appreciate you spend your quality time with us. Please write out in the comments that what else you wish us to share with you. We will compile our experience or find more seafood to share with us, okay, on the topics you are interested. And also, if you have more questions on gardening, please welcome to PM us at Baba Gardening International Facebook page. Okay, we have a professional team to diagnose and propose the correct suggestion to you. Okay, so PM us at Baba Gardening International to give you a better diagnosis. Okay, so what you need to do is, for example, for this plant, okay, what you need to do is just taking the close photo. Okay, okay, and also the far photo, because the close photo actually we can know the symptom of the part, the problem part of the plant, and the far photo we can know the overall condition of the plant. Okay, so that we can know how urgency and then what is the treatment for the plant. Okay, so that's it. Thank you. All right, and see you again next month. Bye bye. See you. Thank you very much. Just now, my friend, our colleague saying that, okay, because we have a cake, okay, and then we can just plug these herbs, okay, and eat together, okay. All right, so we can put some herbs here. Then they say it will taste better with coffee, okay. All right, so let's try out. Not bad. So if you have something sweet, it tastes good with the beans, okay. So it's very nice. And tastes good with coffee. See you next time. Bye.